welcome to another episode of A Course in Miracles Help. So today, our work lesson is number 7. So this should be day 7 of your kind of journey. If it's not, maybe you took a couple days on a couple of the other lessons, and that's fine. The course has plenty of times, and that's good. If it is you're trying to do more than one in one day, remember that that's kind of, they say not to do. It's not in your best interest. So try to limit yourself on one per day. You can obviously go through these a lot quicker if you wanted to, but it's not quality. It's not quantity. It's quality. So keep that in mind. So the idea for today is kind of a cumulative one. It is I see only the past, and keep in mind this is going back to. This is probably again an easy way to conceptualize it. Is going to this veil here. And the Course refers to it as the veil. In the analogy that we used, it's kind of referred to as the film. But this is a cumulative sort of reoccurring dream. So just like you had reoccurring dreams when you were a kid, this film, there'll be different guises that will be shown as far as the way things present the same problems, but it's the same problems over and over again. And you probably noticed that in your own life, that a lot of the things that seem to be the issues for you don't just go away on their own. You really have to resolve them and do some introspection in order to find ways to get past it. And until you do, it's just going to keep repeating itself. So that's getting to this idea of I see only the past. A way we can think about this is we often are, probably the best way to think about this actually, sorry, just to reiterate here, is think about this as relating to someone else. And it's just for, since we're early in the course, this is maybe the best way to do it, because maybe we're not so reflective on our own problems, and others are kind of part of this cumulative anyway, so it's not that big a deal. There's a threat to doing that too overtly and not recognizing the connection, but I think for this might be the best way to go about it, at least for now, is to think about somebody you know, and think about a person that you've known for a long time and since childhood, and try to relate how much their taste in women has been dictated by their first interactions with women, which was through their mother. And the same is obviously true the other way too. Young women, and this is not, I mean, not necessarily restricted to heterosexuality either. But our relationships with our parents, and I think there's something that goes unsaid here, is our relationship with our parents really comes to represent a lot of our relationships in our lives. How we deal with people that are supposed to be in authority, or people that we have intimate ties with, not necessarily anything beyond just emotionally intimate, but there's intimate ties with them. So think about somebody that had maybe a bad relationship with their mother, or somebody that had a bad relationship with their father, how much they tried to reproduce that same situation in their romantic life. And you've probably noticed this with at least a couple of your friends, that they'll try to solve the problems in the past in a new person. But the problem is they're dealing with an effect, really. The person that they're finding is fitting the role that they want them to, and if they're going to change it or if they're going to try to change the situation as for something that is a projection through the filter, they're never going to be able to change the situation because they're changing an effect. Keep in mind that the light's just going to go through that. It's going to represent something. And if you see it as an image that you're supposed to interact with, you're only going to be interacting with something that really can't change. You have to change your mind about the situation. So I think that's a good way to maybe conceptualize it, at least for the first step. Okay. So today, as we said, we'll start with the thought of the day, which is I see only the past. This idea, this is directly from the Course, is particularly difficult to believe at first. yet there is a rationale for all the preceding ones. So the reason that you only see the past, it is they went through all the other lessons we've done just precedingly here. It is the reason why that you see, or nothing that you see means anything. It is the reason why you've given everything you see all the meaning that it has for you. It is the reason why you do not understand anything you see. It is the reason why your thoughts do not mean anything and why they are like things you see. And it is the reason that you're never upset for the reason you think. It is the reason that you are upset because you see something that is not there. So we see these past images reoccurring, and whether we want to get past them or not is kind of irrelevant. They are projections, and our interaction with them is kind of futile unless we change our mind about that situation. But right now, we just need to see it as the past. So we'll keep repeating the past. And this is something, sorry to diverge again, but this is something the Greeks often talked about too. Actually, you know what? I'll change what I say about that, because this is something that a very good book, Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, said. And they perceived, uh, and I've been trying to find this ever since I've heard about it. But Robert Pirsig, the author of Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, he said that the Greeks perceive the past as being projected right from behind the present. So there is this projection that comes out. The person is right here, and you're kind of interacting with this world being projected from the past. And this is exactly what they're talking about, and exactly what our illustration was showing too. But this is something he said in the epilogue of Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. And for the life of me, I can't find any of the Greek philosophers that adhere to exactly that ideal. But I would assume that it's probably Plato. Plato's got quite a bit of work, and I haven't went through all of it, so I'm assuming that was probably Plato that said that, given that the cave is kind of the same situation as well. Okay, so look at this cup, it says here. For example, do you see a cup, or are you merely reviewing your past experiences of picking up a cup, being thirsty, drinking from a cup, feeling the rim against your lips, having breakfast, and so on? That are not your aesthetic reactions to the cup too based on your past experience? How else would you know whether or not this cup will break or if you drop it? What will you do if this what do you know about this cup except what you've learned in the past? You'd have no idea what this cup is except for your past learning. Do you then really see it? So I think the analogy we gave before was how a baby sees the world. And we really don't know how many layers specifically we've laid on of meaning to everything until we are forced to see something that we've seen a million times in a new way. Maybe somebody explains it and we can't believe what we've missed. So somebody sees something that you never saw and something you looked at every day, and then you can't believe you missed it. But it's because we're kind of in these old rail kind of patterns, or sorry, I should say like rail lines, or like these divots of over and over in the pathways of our mind of what is important and what it means and everything else. So we kind of overlook what we could see about it, or what we're missing based on what we've seen about it in the past and what we wanted it to be in the past. So look about you. This is equally true for whatever you look at. Acknowledge this is by applying the idea for today indiscriminately, whatever catches your eye. See, I see only the past in this pencil. I see only the past in this shoe. I see only the past in this hand. I see only the past in that body. I see only the past in that face. Do not linger over one thing in particular, but remember to omit nothing specifically. Glance briefly at the subject, then move on to the next. So as we've been doing with all the lessons up to this point, detached, just realizing this is true. Don't be upset about it. Don't be confrontational about it. Just let it kind of settle. Just let it be something that you can entertain for at least these couple of moments that you have to do it. So again, this is only a 1 minute practice period, and there's only about 3 or 4 of them. But for that time at least, just detachedly go through each of these steps. Okay, Good to talk to you guys again. Hopefully, you guys are enjoying some success with the lesson so far, and we'll be talking to you soon. Okay, thank you. Bye.